things that these patches can help you with, okay? And in some cases, and I'm saying this not under the guise of legality, but cures, things that alleviates. You know, we have a patch, Ice Wave, I think somebody mentioned it, but maybe it's Keith. Ice Wave, it can eliminate your pain in less than 5 minutes. Less than 5 minutes. And this is people with chronic pain that they've had for a long time. In less than 5 minutes and for less than a cup of Starbucks coffee a day. You know, traditional stem cell therapy costs you thousands and thousands of dollars. Sometimes you have to travel out of the country, and they inject you with stem cells from an embryo or from somebody else. So the rejection rate from your body is really high. So you will have made that investment for literally nothing. Even stem cells that are harvested from your own body and re-injected into you, there's a chance, and I've talked to a lot of people who've had stem cell therapy. When it's successful, it's great. It's totally worth the thousands of dollars. But there's a lot of cases where it does absolutely nothing for them. So people are, you know, they're frustrated, they're sad that they can't get to alleviate themselves of this long-going pain. That's where LifeWave comes in, because this is stem cell therapy for everybody, and I mean everybody can afford it. You self-patch yourself, and the beautiful thing about patches is absolutely nothing goes into your body. No narcotics, no drugs, no stimulants, nothing. There's no injections. You just put the patch on your body, you forget it for 12 hours, and then you reap all the results that you're going to find you have it. Maybe some of you we patched a little bit earlier. Maybe you're starting to feel a little bit of those results. You might feel a little bit more energetic or feel a little clearer. You know, it doesn't always work instantly, and you know we don't want to put expectations in people's minds. But that's where I come to my story. If you read my column, you might know that I'm a two-time cancer survivor. About 11 years ago, I had kidney cancer in my left kidney, and was able to remove the kidney and kind of go on with my life. It was a great thing for me and my family. I mean, I really felt like I was still too young to go through that. But 11 years later, last year, I was sitting down, couch potato position, watching television, which I was doing every single night during COVID, right? Come home from work, eat dinner, sit down in front of TV with a plate of food, eat the plate of food, not even really watching TV, but TV, and then fall asleep in front of TV. It was a really dismal kind of existence. But you know, COVID kind of did that to you because you're kind of confined, and you know, you really didn't have a whole lot of things available to you to do. Anyway, so I was doing that, but last year in September, a little over a year ago, I was doing my regular routine, and then I started coughing, and I got a piece of Kleenex, and I coughed, and then I found that I coughed up blood, bright red blood. So, of course, I was concerning. I showed it to my wife, who has some medical training. Well, actually, I have medical training too, but anyway, just so happened coincidentally, and this is where I think fate and you know, a lot of things that all of us kind of believe in, coincidences, synchronicity. Coincidentally, my annual oncology appointment with my doctor was the next day. Okay, so I took a picture of the Kleenex with my phone. I went into my appointment, and you know, I seemed to be checked out okay. I had other problems because over the course of 2 years of COVID, I hadn't gone to my gym. I hadn't worked out. I hadn't lifted a weight. Didn't go running or anything. Nothing. And my eating habits were terrible because, like I said, I was eating anything just to kind of a comfort. It was kind of like a drug, right? Made you feel better temporarily. So I put on like about 40 pounds. So when I went to see my oncologist, he says, you know, you got to get a handle on on these things. And, your blood pressure's up, you're overweight, if you want to take care of yourself, you have to start exercising, do something, walk, whatever. And so I said, yes, doctor, sure, of course I'm going to do that. I'm saying it and doing it is another thing. But then I took out my camera phone and I said, Doc, by the way, last night I coughed up this blood and I showed it to him, and he said, oh, because he knows my history, of course. So immediately he scheduled me for CAT scan, MRIs, all kinds of stuff. He says, well, we're not going to wait. We've got to check this out. We want to make sure that this isn't something serious that you might have, lung cancer. So I thought, wow, that really hit me. And so we did all the testing and everything, and then come to find out that I had stage 4 renal cell carcinoma that had traveled into my lung. So the cancer that I had from over 10 years ago, I had some cells, I guess, in my body, and they had finally settled in my lung and started growing a tumor. So at that point in time, I was 63 years old, and I was in bad shape. I thought, wow, this is it, I'm done. I started talking to my family, my wife, and just preparing for, what might be inevitable. And of course, getting the papers together, checking your insurance, all those kinds of things, talking to my working place, saying, this is what's happening, and all that. Of course, everybody was behind me 100%. I found a really good surgeon at Queens, and we were miraculously able to remove the lower half of my left lung and eliminate the tumor completely. Renal cell carcinoma is a funny, not funny, but it's a very unusual kind of cancer because there's no chemotherapy type of treatment for that. I guess in some ways that's a blessing, and radiation is not really a method to get rid of it. You have to surgically remove it. Otherwise, you just really go into hospice. And so having stage 4 was really kind of a miracle for me. But so the surgery was successful, but I was bedridden for recovery for about 6 weeks. And then my condition, physical condition, just kind of got worse and worse. And when you're in that kind of condition, you're like, wow, you're kind of depressed, all of that. Plus, taking narcotics for the pain. I was taking OxyContin for the pain, because the surgery pain, which was really severe, gabapentin, another nerve thing, which I guess they use maybe for shingles. Anyway, so I was kind of like always in a daze, fogged out. I really felt bad. So coming into this year, although my family and I were really happy I didn't have cancer, it was, wow, I'm in really bad shape. I got to do something, It's unfair to my family that I continue to do that routine every night as a couch potato. So I signed back up for my gym, started going, but it was really bad. I couldn't do anything. I was out of breath, partly because of my, I was one lung, one kidney, so I made that as my excuse. And I was kind of like spottily going back to the gym, but at least I was doing something. And dieting was a little rough, because I was so used to just eating all kinds of whatever I wanted to. Plus at my work, I oversee a couple of the restaurant guides and dining out, Crave. And so, we always have food at the office, and, that's just how it is. Anyway, but in the time that he'd done that, he had blown out both of his shoulders from weightlifting. I think one time he was pressing weights and it just literally snapped, and all kinds of things, bicep snap. But anyway, he couldn't lift his arms up even to apply deodorant or to close the shades in his house. So when we were lifting weights, we always had to kind of like baby. I mean, baby Brian, but we had to baby that and have him lift lighter weights. We had to spot him, make sure that he didn't re-injure himself. He had a hard time sleeping at night because he couldn't get in a comfortable position. Anyway, Myra brought home the patches. He put the patches on, and because he's a real skeptical guy, he's a no-nonsense guy, believe me. You know, and said, right, Beanie? Brian is like, oh, you know, you don't want to mess with him, but he's like, you know, come on, I don't want to waste my time with this patch thing. Because, you know, what's in it? Nothing. But he had done surgery, acupuncture, acupressure, massage, physical therapy. He's done everything, steroid injections, and it couldn't help his shoulders. So he put the patch on to please Myra. And after a couple of days, he said, Ron, I just automatically lifted my arm up and I could put deodorant on, and my arm, it didn't hurt. And he says, this can't be right. So he started opening the shades. He started, you know, trying different things like that. And he goes, this has to be in my mind. It's a psychosomatic or placebo effect. That's what he told me. And he says, but you know what? The more I started using it, the less the pain was. And now I'm like, the pain is almost gone. So Ron, this is a miracle thing. But I was like the same thing. I was same as Brian. I'm not going to give his testimony because he'll give it tomorrow. But anyway, I said, oh, come on, Brian. Really? He goes, Ron, really? So I says, all right, you know what? I'm going to try this patch just to show you that this is all in your mind. Karen was in Vegas, so I couldn't get any from her. So I just went online, I looked it up, and I ordered a rush patches to come to me because I really wanted to try it. I got the patches, and the morning that I got the patches in the afternoon. The morning I went to my boot camp workout, and again it was really dismal. I couldn't do anything. I was out of breath. I was trying to do pull-up, and my partner, she's a woman, Dawn, a younger woman. She had to actually help me, you know, try to do a pull-up. I could barely do 3. I was struggling, and that was that morning. That evening, I received the patches in the mail, and I said, well, I'm going to patch myself tomorrow morning before I go work out. So I woke up, you know, and I patched myself, and I go, okay, you know, well, let's see what happens. So I went to work out. I kind of felt a little bit, but I'm thinking, you know, I think this is in my mind kind of thing. And then when it came to time to do pull-ups, and this is true, I mean, I can give you the name of the woman. I jumped up there and I did 15 pull-ups unassisted. And I said, you know, this got to be all in my mind. To the course of that day, I felt like I had this unusual energy, not like caffeine or energy drink or anything like that. It's just a clean energy, a clean feeling of being kind of awake and all that. Then I had realized that during the course of the pandemic and after my surgery and being in bed, I had a lower back pain and I had a shoulder pain, which I couldn't get rid of. I had gone to physical therapy, steroid injections, all of that. I went to the whole thing. Couldn't get rid of it. So, you know, at nights I'd come home, just sitting at a desk all day, and I'd have to lie on the floor trying to find a position, and I couldn't sleep at night, all that. That afternoon, less than 24 hours, and this is not a typical result, but my pain was gone. It was totally gone. I got on the phone, I called Brian, I said, Brian, this thing works, you know, but I think it might be in my mind. Because I couldn't convince myself that something that doesn't go into your body works so fast and so well. So I continued to use it religiously, and the longer I used it, with each day I was finding different things. I found that I could sleep really well. You know, I'm 64 now. Men my age, you know, sometimes you have to get up 3, 4, 5 times a night to go use the restroom. I was sleeping pretty much through the night, maybe get up once, maybe. And when I slept, it was a very restful sleep. I had vivid dreams and things like that, but my mind, I think my body was healing itself. So that during the day, even if I got a couple of hours of sleep, when I woke up, I felt great, you know, like I had slept for 8 hours. Those kinds of small things. I felt a mental acuity, you know, a clearing of my mind. I would go to work, and here's one of the biggest things that happened for me. Any desire to procrastinate was gone. And I was a huge procrastinator. I mean, gone. I'd go to work, I'd make a list, I'd start scratching lists off, I'd check my email, I would answer all of my emails, answer all of my telephone calls, everything. It was crazy. I said, what's happening? What's going on here? And I think the first night I did the patches, when I sat down to watch TV, I said, I can't do this. I can't sit here and watch TV. I got up, I went in the kitchen, started cleaning the kitchen, washing the dishes. I went in my room, I started cleaning out my drawer. I mean, it was crazy. So I thought, there's something wrong here. But the longer I wore the patches, the more I found that you just have this desire to want to move forward and do things. And in that, I also want to help people. So I shared it with my wife, my daughter, my brother, my sister. My wife, she couldn't sleep through the night either. She would get up only because she's a light sleeper, and she would get up maybe sometimes more than me, 4 or 5 times a night, and she would get up and just sit in the living room, watch TV or something like that. With the patch, starting from the first night, she literally slept through the night, and she said, Ron, I don't know what's in this, but this thing works. I can sleep now. She also had a lower back pain. Gone. She says, I don't know, she could barely get out of the car sometimes, that kind of thing. She said, God, Ron, this is amazing. Some weeks later, we were at Ala Moana, and she had made an order from Nordstrom, okay? And, my wife has always been, did I turn off the stove? Can you check to see if I unplugged my blow dryer? That kind of thing, that kind of forgetfulness kind of thing. Which is part of life. It's part of our age. And but we went to Ala Moana, and we were sitting down in kind of like in the court, and she says, "Oh, I need to call Nordstrom to see if my order came in." So she's on the phone, and I'm sitting right next to her, and I hear her say, I hear her like rattle off a bunch of numbers, and so I says, "Well, did it come in?" She goes, "Ron, they were asking me for the order number." And I remembered it. And that's not significant except for the fact that it was 9 digits. She had remembered a 9-digit number that I don't know when the last time she saw it. And I says, that's amazing, And I'm not going to say that's going to happen all the time, but just the fact that it happened at one time, for me, it was just another thing that added to my arsenal of things that I want to tell people about how this thing works. So last thing, really, there's so many good things, and not just with X39, but you've got to have X39. You've got to have X39 and use it every day. I'm 4 months into it now, and I've never felt better in my life. People who know me or seen me before, I've lost 35 pounds. I've retained the muscle that I had. I'm working on. I go to my boot camp now every day, 5 days a week. It's only half an hour, but that's all you need. Change my eating habits a bit because this motivates you. It motivates you to want to go work out. It motivates you to want to add to what's already happening to your body. So last thing is I want to say, if you read my column, I have 2 dogs, 2 rescue dogs, Buddy and Wilson. And Buddy has had some health issues lately. He's about 12 years old, and he has diabetes, so we got to inject him with insulin every day. And he's also gone blind in one eye, and he's losing his sight in his other eye. And he's pretty much really run down, really feel badly for him. And he spends most of his day just sleeping, really. But then I found out that dogs can use X39 too. After you use the patch, you kind of like recycle it. You put it in like a tin. I put it in a tin can or Tupperware, and I started patching him. I started patching him every day, and before you know it, there was a noticeable difference. So if you see me later on, I'll show you picture before and after pictures of only 18 days of using the patch. It really works, and the thing about it is, animals can't lie. They can't give you shibari. They can't tell you that it works. you can see that it works. And there's other people here. Karen is involved with dog community. She could probably tell you about that. Janai here hasn't tried it yet with her animals, but I think she's gonna check it out for sure because she has an animal sanctuary. But anyway, so that's my testimony. Sorry it ran a little bit long, but I wanted to kind of get in all of these really important things that I think you should know. And I'm going to turn it back over to Vimy.
Thank you. Awesome.
So many things we want to share all